Hey everyone, this is Olay from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome one, welcome all to another episode of Edge Steps powered by Laddering Your Success. As always, I am here with my good friend Festus and Olay. Festus, how you doing?
It's good. It's good to be back. Thank you so much for the warm welcome and holding it down while just dealing with family vacay and other details and all that good stuff.
Folks, my name is Olay Yinka. Sure, I was about to say Ole, but Daniel Hill's about to beat me up. Thank you so much for joining us. If this is your first time listening in with us, what we do here is we talk about pertinent issues having to do with education, with schooling, with admin, with teachers, with scholarships, with financial aid, with athletics, all of those things, with your purpose, with personal development, with all of those wonderful things. We are geared towards helping people find their purpose and start on the path of generational wealth. Thank you so much for joining us. Before I introduce our blessed co-hosts that are with us every week, quick shout out to Andrew Eisner, old football teammate, old classmate from Elsick High School, who consistently shares our stuff out there on Facebook. If you know me, if you know Festus, if you know Jamark, if you know Daniel Hill, and you like what we're doing, don't be afraid to share that out to your friends. So appreciative of him and just his consistency. He's almost as consistent as sharing as we are with coming on here every Sunday. I think he is just as consistent, if not more consistent. So if you can hear this, Andrew, I'll be sure to send you a message, man. Love you, brother. Thank you so much for your support. It means so much whenever you go on and you look on your notifications, and it's almost like mail. It's almost like, it's just like this reoccurring, like there's that normal share that Andrew gives us, and it's very.
It's like getting a birthday card,
It really is.
It's like don't nobody know about my birthday.
For real, it's like getting a digital hug.
Yeah,
it's like getting a digital hug, man. So very, 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 very appreciative of that, man. Just thank you so much for that, brother. But as always, man, we have our good friend, the future doctor, Jamark Crawford. How you doing today, my good sir?
Hey, glad to be here. Thank you guys for having me on.
As always, thank you for being with us, Jamark. Appreciate it, man. And the one, the only, someone get the trumpets, the ambassador. What did they say about the ambassador emeritus, Daniel Hill? How's it going, Daniel?
AKA Himothy himself. I'm good, baby. How y'all doing today, man? Good to see y'all. It's good to be here, man.
I am him.
That guy.
Love it, man. Love it, man. So thankful for you wonderful gentlemen here being here with us on another Sunday. Let's jump right into it. So the topic for today is 1 year later, and 1 year from not too far of the days. We were talking about this on one of our Edge Step episodes. We're talking about the state of our kids. Where are our kids today? Where are they today? It's been 1 year later, and we're going to take a look back in the past year. We've talked about a lot, but we all know we live in a world, and there's a very famous there's a highly quoted quote, which is, actions speak louder than words. So we can say all the things and people can talk about what they know, but have classrooms. Well, let me start from the top. Has the government, have states, have districts, have superintendents and administrators, have teachers, students, almost just as importantly, have parents made the changes, the necessary changes in this changing world, in this new world order, if you will, that we live in, this changing dynamic, this changing culture? Have we made the positive, the correct, the right changes to help our students, to help our kids see a brighter future, see a future where they are fulfilled, see a future where they do have and found their purpose? So that's the topic for today. I'm not going to jump in because I'm just going to give a one word answer. So before I give my one word answer, or someone else gives the same one word answer with some other, facts and stats, I'm just going to leave it open. If no one says anything, I'm going to jump in with my one word answer and I'm going to go in. All right. So that's the topic for today. 1 year later, have the actions spoken louder than the words for our students and where they are to meet their needs?
I'm gonna leave it to the fellas. What y'all think?
My answer would be no. Let it be, my answer. I'll leave it open for anybody else to jump in.
Same as the meetings at Mata. I actually second that.
What they be talking about in the meetings, man?
I'm just talking about when you actually agree, I'd be like, no, and had it like no stuff. It's just like what y'all said. Like it seems like with these, could somebody get that boy? My bad. I wasn't clouding Mata. I was just saying how we said the
Oh yeah, no. You were
how we say at the meetings. Like it's just how you see on the news. People say certain things. Like y'all try to help these people. These people hear the message but don't want to receive the message. Don't want to change. Parents don't want to change. Parents ask for help. You try to give them help like y'all do. They don't actually come get the help. The kids won't help. You try to give them help. They won't come get the help. Nothing's changing, man. So no.
So I feel like it's no, because when talking about all the different stakeholders needing to do their part, teachers, administrators, the kids, parents, and things of that nature, have we all made changes necessary, to help these students find their purpose, to be successful on their academic journey and wherever that may go? And I say no, because if I adjust and I see that, these kids with alarming or alerting behaviors are going through things, and I do my due diligence to care about them and take the time to invest a little bit more, to form a relationship with them, to try to give them options, to show there's a better way to handle, certain situations that might not be to their liking, right? But at the same time, when I'm doing my part, I feel like they have to be willing and open, like Daniel said, to receive their help, to, make the change necessary for them to be successful throughout their academic career. But oftentimes I feel like it doesn't happen, and it makes me question my purpose. It makes me question my passion for working with these youth that look like me and come from the neighborhoods that I come from. It's almost like I can go over here and work with, if I just be real on this podcast, I can go over here and work with these white kids who don't necessarily need my help and extra efforts, but I can gladly go give it to them because they'll receive it with open arms. Whereas I'm trying to give back to my community and build these relationships, and it comes off as and when I'm saying these communities, it's not every single kid, but it is the majority, to where it's bad enough to where I doubt my purpose, right? And so it's like I'm taking the time out and trying to be empathetic with your particular situation as a child. Okay, you don't have a mother and father because they're both locked up, so you don't have a figure around to motivate you in the way that's going to benefit you in your future, right? And so when I take that time to kind of invest that in you and give you those options, and you make the choice to continue to act ignorant, you can only be a product in your environment if you don't have any resources. But when I'm giving you resources, now it's a choice. So at this point, I'm just going to have to back off and let you be ignorant. And unfortunately, you're throwing your life away because you're still making the choice to be ignorant. And that's why I feel like what's going on with multiple students within our low SES environments. I'm sorry I went on. That's why I tried to let somebody else go, you know.
No, no worries. No worries. It's necessary and it's very much appreciated. We have on, I believe this is Hill. This may be the young man that you mentioned to me that I gave the information to. We have someone on with us. David. David, how you doing? Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Oh, awesome. Glad to hear your voice.
D, what's up, man? That's David. What's up, boy?
Yeah. So, we gotta just like Festus sent to you, we're talking about schools and, things going on with our students, not just, here in Houston or in Texas, but, all over the world. But of course, we live here in the United States, so it tends to gear towards the United States because that's where we are. But we want to know about you. What brings you on here with us today? What brings you here to this side of the world? What do you have any questions for us? What seems to be anything on your mind? Anything you want to discuss with the fellas?
Nothing much, but when Daniel told me, it was very interesting. So I decided to give it a try, and because I want to get like a scholarship for college and onto a master in engineering. So like I can have my own engineering business after college.
Oh, wow.
Not with that haircut. No, I'm just I'll mess with you, man. I'll mess with you.
Savage. Don't worry. That's just what we do here. We have fun. It's all fun and it's all love here. But that's awesome to hear. How old? What grade are you in? If you don't mind.
I'm in 8th grade.
8th grade. Okay, that's awesome. I tell you, it's an awesome thing when young people are able to find their purpose at a young age.
Mhm.
It seems like that's where you're at, like you found your purpose and it's something that you love. Tell me more about engineering. What made you find engineering?
My dad kind of inspired me because he's like, I think he's in charge of like something in IT in the army. Like, well, I'm originally from Rwanda, which is in East Africa.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like my dad is back in Rwanda and he's in charge of like something of IT and in the military, and it just like kind of inspired me and to start my own like business of engineering. And this year I took robotics engineering classes in school as an elective, and it was really fun and I enjoyed it. So I decided like I want to start my own career in engineering.
All right. Well, that sounds awesome. Festus, do you want to go and give him some quick tips? I have some things, but I usually like to save the best for last.
You want to give them the best first?
All right, you want to go ahead? Go ahead, Festus.
I know, right, Festus? I know, right?
He's
I
like,
told you
go
had
ahead,
the
go
trash,
first.
bro.
No,
I like to give him the trash first. So
I thought Olay was giving the best. Yeah, David,
You're kind.
we're definitely excited to have you here and thank you for coming. You're welcome back anytime. But a lot of what we like to do is just kind of talk about different tips that you can put into action now, but then also that will put you on a trajectory to help you later, right? So the first things first is I love the fact that you took inspiration from your dad and he's already in some kind of technology, because we have three things we talk about here is being, knowing, doing, okay? Your being is your character, your values, and your principles, right? Your being is your character, values, and principles. And I'll try to draw this up for us, or Olay, you want to hop on while? Oh man, I got all these things saved. I didn't know they save them now. So your being is the most important thing, your character, your values, and your principles. And so your character is what drives you, what motivates you, what pushes you, what wakes you up in the morning, right? That's really important because if you don't have a strong why, it's very easy to push you in different directions, or when certain things happen in life, it's very easy to dissuade you, right? And so if you understand your being in terms of your character, right, what gives you energy, right, it's very easy to get back on track when life throws certain things at you, right? So like, for example, I like the fact that even though you're separated from your dad, you still talk to him, right? And also you use that inspiration as motivation, right? Because let's say, for example, something happens in school, you have a bad day, you could always go back to that purpose and say, why am I doing this, right? So that's important. That's really, really important. So next, let's talk about values, right? You want to align your values. Okay, this is things that we cherish, right? You want to align that to your character and to your purpose, because if you don't, what ends up happening, you spend time, you spend energy on things that aren't going to get you to your purpose, right? And so when you look at, people talk about Black and brown people, whatever, oftentimes they're just very separated from their purpose and the resources to get them there. And so they end up having sometimes a lot of values that are misaligned. So let's say, for example, you want to be an engineer. What does it take to be an engineer? It takes intelligence, it takes dedication, it takes hard work, it takes knowing STEM and STEAM, right? They talk about, right? It takes problem solving. So if you want to enhance your ability to become an engineer, right? Why don't you start out solving some problems right now? Can you think of 2 or 3 problems that you could solve? Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had it like this kind of same talk with my dad, and he just gave me some values and like a characteristic that an engineer has to have, and he told me like to practice like the skills, so like when in the future I have like perfect them and know them good, so like I'm very like prepared and ready to start.
So 100%. And then this is the thing, you could start right now because you're around what, 12 years old?
13.
13. Okay, so 13, Elon Musk wrote his first computer program around your age, right? And if you look at what the stuff he's done now with Tesla and with SpaceX and now with Twitter, right? He's able to use his knowledge of technology from then and not only make a lot of money and start business, right? But he's also able to kind of change the world, right? Because we're using a lot of the things that he's put into practice, right? And so
Yes.
he started at this age now. So I want you to, we're going to do a little exercise real quick. I want you to think of 2 problems right now that you could work on solving.
Okay.
Right around you, in your neighborhood, in your house, 2 problems.
The like I could work like cleaning, like cleaning the streets, picking up like bottles, recycling, stuff like that.
Okay, so let's call that environmental engineering, because that's what that is, right? Is changing your environment. So as an engineer who's an environmental engineer, can you think of 2 solutions to getting people to recycle more in your environment?
Like give them like maybe like creating tools like to help them like to like easier like pick up trash, instead of like you could give them like a machine, but like so it can be easier and they'll be like more motivated to do it, because most people don't do work because they think it's very hard and complicated. So I would say like create or like use a machine that makes stuff easier like to complete and finish.
So what I hear you saying is use technology to create a type of machine that makes it easier for people to recycle. That's what I hear you saying. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Hey LYS fam, it's Olay. Thanks so much for listening to LYS. I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk to the parents. That's right, mom and dad. Parents, prepare your child for their best educational fit after high school with our comprehensive LYS Parents Guidebook. Our helpful guide includes a range of activities designed to help you better understand your child's unique gifts and abilities. Additionally, we provide valuable insights into the student loan debt crisis and offer practical tips on how to avoid accumulating large amounts of debt. Our ebook also includes a wealth of information on scholarships, grants, and payment exemptions that can help guide your child towards a bright and successful future. With our expert guidance, you can rest assured that your child is well prepared to make informed decisions about their education and career path. Don't let your child's future be in jeopardy. Invest in their future today by downloading the LYS Parents Guidebook. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to the show because you know it's some good topics.
So how can you make that much more simple? Because as an engineer, right, and solving a problem, simplicity is going to be your best friend, right? Because if it's simple, more people will do it. And you want to solve this problem right now, right? Your environment. So what's a way that you could say, let's solve this problem, make it simple. We said, okay, we could use some technology, we can make a robot, right? But let's say today, if you wanted to do it today, what's something that you can do to solve a problem today?
Like, for example, I could go to like a Home Depot and buy supplies for cleaning and hand it out to the neighborhoods, and they could like start cleaning and like have like a community day and just clean up for like the Saturday.
Okay, I love it. So organize your community
Yes.
I love it. See, so you're already engineering, right? Because you're solving a problem by saying, I'm gonna organize the people in order to, and then I'm gonna help get the supplies to make it easier on them so that they could go ahead and do it. I love that, right? So again, you already have this in your DNA. So I just love to bring it out, right? So some problem solving, man. And now that you start talking, I got a solution too. We're gonna work on how you can make some money doing this, right? Okay, so Olay, bring this back up, okay? Because I think I got a solution. We gonna make some bread. We gonna make some bread on this. So okay, so we said being, knowing, doing. So I love the fact we say values, character, principles, right? So you have to have a principle at work or at play. This makes it a lot easier when you have a principle that's at work or at play. And so the principle would be a clean environment's a healthy environment, right? We could just say that's the principle. And so by leveraging principles, right, and saying, hey, what if we did community cleanup day to promote health and well-being, right? That can be a principle that we can leverage, right? Because who doesn't want to be healthy, right?
Yes.
We could leverage that principle to then hopefully get more people involved in what we're doing. And so, like you said, now that you know the resources, Home Depot or something like that. So what if you did this, okay? And you might want to get a pen and pad out because I'm about to give you a business idea, right? That you could start right now at 13. What if you made some signs, community cleanup day, and then you got some of your friends so that after the community cleanup day, you guys could start a cleaning service. And you say, hey, we want everybody to get out and be healthy. But if you're not able to come out, or let's say you are able to come out today, but you can't do it on a regular basis, we have a company called David's Clean Engineering that will come and help clean up your community, and you could pay us. Does that sound like a good idea? So you already have the community involved, and you could talk to Home Depot. Maybe Home Depot might even donate some supplies for you, right? or you could reach out to some of your friends and neighbors who can afford to help sponsor those supplies. And maybe Home Depot says, David will give you a discount. Anything that you buy on this day, we'll give you 20% off since you're going to go clean the community. And you can say, okay, well, I'm going to find some people I think he froze. I'm going to find some people who are willing to do this, willing to sponsor it. And then we could go clean up the community, right? And then that way you could then advertise to those people afterwards. Hey, if you are an elderly person, or if you're a sick person or something like that, and you need help cleaning, David's Clean Engineering will come and help clean up. He froze. Does that sound pretty good, David? Are you still there? I think he had to come back.
I think he's back.
He's back. Okay. Okay, he can't hear. Yeah, you might try refreshing your hearing. So for those of you who are in our audience or listening to this on podcast or watching on YouTube, right? These are very practical ways, Dr. Ugo, these are very practical ways that kids can take what they know now and what they want to do now and apply that being, knowing, doing process to be able to go ahead and creatively start to, generate some jobs, generate some creativity. David, can you hear now? Can you hear us now?
I can hear you guys. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Dr. Ugo.
Oh, yes, I can hear.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we're talking to a young man, David, about his passion for engineering, and we're trying to help him generate some engineering and some business ideas on how he could clean up the community. So I love this because, I think we started out with a very different outlook on students in life, and then here comes David, like, nah, I'm the hood's Elon Musk.
Don't lose hope yet. Don't lose hope yet.
He's like, I'm the hood's Elon Musk. I just need a chance. Give me the game. Put me in the game, coach.
Clickety cloud.
Right. So yeah. So hopefully we generated some ideas for you, David. You can start with a social media campaign. Hey, I need 5 friends who are going to help me clean up, and maybe you could just start with one neighborhood, one street, right? And then you guys can do those ideas. You could start by a social media campaign. You could start by making signs, right? And you could talk to those friends, say, look, I got an idea. This is how we're gonna make some money. First, we're gonna clean up the neighborhood. We're gonna prioritize the community first, okay? We're not charging anybody or anything like that, but we're gonna take some pictures. We're gonna take some video of the transformation. And then that way, we're gonna use that in our marketing for David's Clean Engineering, right?
Yes. Yep.
You got the play, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next time you come on this call, I wanna hear, first and foremost, that you found the friends and you found the street. Okay, that's the simplest thing. Then make the signs, social media campaign, and then hook it up from there. So I'm gonna chill because I know I said a lot. Being, knowing, doing process. Olay, you said you had some more game you want to throw at David?
Well, I was just gonna say quickly to also make sure you take advantage of like those robotics camps, those engineering camps, a lot of those things that you'll hear about during the summer months. There's a lot of things that'll really help you. And this is the time where you're supposed to make all the mistakes, right? Any thought that you have in your mind about something new, just go out there and do it. You'll hear about one of our mentors, Wes, always talked about how he used to get in trouble at home because he would take a toaster or a radio and he would open it up and pull out transistors and all these other things. Your parents get mad, and I'm not telling you to take the HD TV that your parents just bought and to just, take it off and like, oh, I figured out something here. Like, don't do that. But, just don't be limited. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. It's at these times where you start to figure out more and more about what you're truly passionate. I really envision you, if you want to move forward with this thing, you can really use a lot of your skills and your talents to find unique ways to clean up areas, because with having friends that own homes and having parents who own a home, I know that that's a really big issue is having efficient, clean care for the external at the extremities of your house. So there's definitely a lot of good things you can do with that. So just keep those things in mind.
I got another idea for you.
You're trying to get this man all the sauce.
What about a robot that will go into your house, right? And it will take the recycle and go dump it in the recycle for you. And when the robot is not doing that, it can have a sign on it that goes around the streets telling people it's important to recycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you could just have it to where people can text for the robot to come to their house. And then the GPS on their phone can bring the robot to their house.
You might want to take this off. You might want to take this off alive. Someone might.
Wait a minute. Is this for him or for me?
I'm
You know,
saying
exactly. So think about it. This robot, right? The robot kind of just roams the street, reminding people to recycle, and then they could just text David's Engineering, and then the text message will get their GPS location. The robot will go to their house and then help them with recycling. That's
Yeah,
the,
that's a good
Okay,
idea.
I want to try to sneak in because I have some really good ideas. Hopefully I haven't repeated anything, but I just want to encourage this young man. There's 3 things that I'm thinking of. There's a website called outschool.com, and outschool.com is like the YouTube or Craigslist, I don't even know if people use that anymore, of teaching classes. So you can literally type in coding, STEM, robotics, recycling, and a teacher comes up and there's like 7 to 10 classes on many different subjects at many different times. And it's all geared towards kids. So these are certified teachers who are teaching kids how to do things that are their passion. And then the second thing, I don't know if you're in Houston, but if you are, Rice University has something called Our STEM for Kids, and it's a summer program. They offer scholarships that are based on STEM products, and then the last one, or STEM classes, and then the last one is University of Alabama. University of Alabama offers one that's virtual, so they'll send the entire craft kit to you with all of the things so you don't have to dig up and break your parents' toasters. They'll send you the transistors, the wires, the robots, all of those things. So basically, hit up Google and type in STEM classes, robotics, whatever you're interested in for kids, and there is someone out there that can inspire you and give you the creativity and the tools you need to take your vision to the next step.
Yes.
And David, we didn't get a chance to introduce that voice you heard. That is Dr. Ugochi Emenaha. Thank you so much, Dr. Hugo, for coming in. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Sorry I was late.
No worries.
nah, you're good.
Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay once again. You know, these days, many families are busy, but want personalized attention. We at Laddering Your Success understand this dilemma and have created a unique approach to help guide you and your child with personal development tools to build a life of purpose. This intimate approach is helpful for those parents that feel the need to have a focused heart-to-heart conversation deciding on the next steps after high school. We provide individual post-secondary planning, virtual customized college and career counseling, and scholarship guidance and planning. Our one-on-one sessions are tailored to each individual student to maximize their potential in the post-secondary realm. With our guidance, your child will be able to make their dreams a reality. Don't wait. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to business on this podcast.
You gave us some really good resources that could get David started today. And that's the big thing is creating these young leaders, or not necessarily creating them, but equipping and empowering them, right, to be able to ladder their success starting now. And so I think these are great resources. We're looking for a robot coming soon, but he's gonna get some bread from cleaning first, and then he's gonna like generate this. So I love it. So you're definitely gonna talk to your dad about this, right, David?
Yes, sir.
He gonna come back a full-fledged engineer. Be like, I left for 6 months. You're an engineer. What happened? That's awesome, man. But David, just stay on. We're gonna continue on with our conversation. If you want to stay, that's fine. I got your email. Thank you so much, Ambassador Hill, for sending that to me, for sending David our way. I'm gonna send you an email, David, with all the stuff Dr. Ugo sent and all the stuff we talked about as far as be, know, do, and some of those ideas. and I'll send that to you in the email. Okay. But
And then
you can totally stay on if you want to, and you can chime in if you have a comment and you want to jump in, because we're talking about you guys right now. Okay.
100%. And Olay, if you could add to that, you could just send it to Jane for the download, the ebook for the college readiness ebook.
I got you.
Right. And then that way we could get you started on that scholarship and college readiness process, David.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So wait, do I join at the same time, around the same time next week?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Every Sunday at 2 p.m. We started a little late today, but every Sunday at 2 p.m. we're gonna be here. Right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
Mhm.
So yes, Dr. Hugo, let me get you caught up with what we were talking about. It was so awesome that we had David join us. We were talking about the state of our kids, the state of our students. Where are we 1 year later? And the 1 year is just referencing just what we were talking about a year ago. So around April 30th, 2022, we were kind of talking about the same things. Where are our students at? This was, I think I may have done a video about, I think it's Rob Elementary in Uvalde. We were talking about a lot of the things that our young men are watching, a lot of the things that our young women are watching. What is the state of our children from a mental standpoint, physical standpoint, emotional standpoint? Are we in a better place? They say actions speak louder than words. So to have the governments, have the states, have administrators, superintendents, all these people, have we taken action to really, and parents, of course, have we made the actions necessary to help our students have a brighter future? And I think the overwhelming response here was no. And so we were just talking more about that. Soon to be Dr. Crawford was going in, talking about some things. And so, yeah, that's pretty much where we were. And then David kind of came in and said, hold on, we're not all bad. We're some of us are trying to do some things out here. And so that's how we ended up talking with David. But Dr. Hugo, go ahead if you want to jump in and talk about that. I know a lot of your work has to do.
I would love to answer that question. And unfortunately, as joyous as my voice is, I don't have a joyous response. I do think that most of what we're experiencing is just a repeat of what we've seen before. And it's almost like our voices are not loud enough as educators, as teachers, as parents. And I was so proud to see in Tennessee, the walkout that recently happened were students at the high school of this young man. And maybe it was not in Tennessee, but at the high school of this young man that was recently shot while knocking on the wrong door, all of the kids at his high school walked out. And those are the things that our policymakers see. When the students start taking action, we as adults have a different type of voice. If we look at the revolutions that have happened in our past, from the sit-ins during the civil rights movement to even the children's movement, specifically during the civil rights movement, and even the birth of historically Black colleges and universities and sororities and fraternities, these all stem around action of the youth. So not to put it on our kids completely, but a lot of the action that we're going to need to see in the future in order to move people is our kids need to join us. Our kids need to, stand up and take action by joining conversations like this and by being a part of organizations, even if it's a STEM program. A STEM program engages you, gets you connected with other people so that your voice is heard.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. It's so funny, as soon as you started talking, the first thing I typed up was teacher strike. And then you mentioned the students in Tennessee who left after that student was shot. I think one of the things I've noticed is, since we're at the front lines as teachers, I feel like my perspective is going to come from a place of anger a little bit because of because of what we see. I think of what we see. And I think the anger is not at one particular person. I think it's anger with the failure of the system as a whole. And, usually when we talk, we're going to talk from the perspective of the teacher, because teachers, what do they say? I will fall at this, I'll die on this cross. That's what they say. That's what they'll say. That teachers are just super, super vital for the health of a nation, really, for the health of a lot of students. You have kids who come in and every teacher has given up on this particular kid, but they just have that one teacher who reached them in the right way and was able to help them make make impactful change for them. And I really, really feel for a lot of teachers, because there's a lot of blame that goes on teachers, but more importantly, it feels like we've talked about this, the whole sense of community that we used to have just doesn't seem to be there. And I think within community, there are certain sets of implied knowledge or implied information that people there's certain expectations that we have that we just don't see a lot with our students anymore. And you can start to see a lot of these things breaking at the seams. And so for every David that we have, there's about 10 or 15 that, are kind of going in the other way, as Hill kind of nods his head. So, but definitely, Dr. Ugo, that's super, super impactful. I'm gonna leave this open for anyone else, because I feel like we can go on for a while with this, but I'll leave it open for anyone else who wants to jump in.
And I'll add this too. I think, and I would be glad to hear what you guys think about this as well as educators. I went to a conference, Texas Name Conference, just recently in Waco, and one of the speakers stated that we as educators are political activists. We are action makers, and we're in a position to make change, not just to teach kids. And she made this comment. I cited her like a million times in my dissertation, so I was just really intrigued by this. But she made this comment that don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe, even if it means losing your job, because there is another teaching position waiting for you down the road. So I wonder, like, how you guys feel about that. I worked in Katy, and there's a lot of, nonsense going on about what books kids should and should not read. And I really feel like that's all on a parent to determine what their kids should be reading, and not on a school district to ban books, especially because of the reason they're banning the books. But that's another conversation. So I would be interested to know what you guys think. Are we, like you said, is this the hill? Are we ready to die on this hill of education and teaching and empowering kids?
I feel like that will work if the voices are used together versus one teacher trying to speak up and make a difference and die on that hill alone, because then you have many different separate teachers in different educational systems dying on those hills, and those voices won't be impactful until if I'm willing to take that chance. And then many other teachers at this particular educational system are willing to take that chance, and we take that chance and we die up on that hill, and that impact continues. So we all have to be, as a collective, willing to die up on that hill before it's heard. Because if I stand up for what I believe in and I die on that hill, then everyone looks around, the other educators look around, and it's like, oh, no, I'm not willing to make that sacrifice because I have a family, I have this and I have that, I have these things set in place. Then my sacrifice will be good for me because I stood up for myself. But would it make an actual impact in that educational setting? Least likely. And I say that because the things that are going on that are nonsense, I actually challenge those with respect to the system by just asking mere questions and by providing a solution. So it's not like I'm challenging it without providing different solution. They are closed-minded because it's like, this is, and their reasoning is, this is how it's been done, this is how we do it. And my response is, well, if this is how you've been doing it and it hasn't been working, and you're expecting us to do the same thing, but to produce different results, then the system is broken. So you're basically telling us to do the same thing and you're expecting different results. That's nonsense. That's ludicrous. That's actually insanity. Right. And so and clearly I don't do what they say, I do my own thing. And so I'm doing it different. And so they're finding everything wrong with the way I'm doing my stuff different, although my results are pretty much comparable to my counterparts, you know what I mean? And so, but I'm the only one kind of voicing it, right? And then even when I had an idea that brought in my peers to teach something that was the benefit of our students, where the teachers were working together to teach a certain content, and collectively it was like amazing. You had the teacher support, you also, the students had the peer support, and because it was different, it was basically kind of shut down. The leader of that particular content was basically trying to shut it down. How dare you do that? You don't have the approval of the district to make these kind of moves. But when we went ahead and did it, all of the other professionals who kind of came in and saw it was amazed at this collaborative event that we did that benefited, you know, teachers and the students, because the teachers were learning from other teachers during this event. Students were learning from different teachers that weren't necessarily their day-to-day teachers, but so easily it was shut down because this one leader didn't approve of it. And so it killed the morale, and we never did it again.
Wow,
Very, very
wow.
true. Yeah.
That's real. That's real.
Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that even though the cost of college can be daunting, the LYS Scholarship Guide ebook can assist you in realizing your dreams. You can identify and apply for scholarships using the information, advice, and resources in our comprehensive guide. Also, we've provided a template for a successful scholarship essay to help you stand out from the crowd. Don't allow student loan debt to control you. Get your copy of the LYS Scholarship Guide ebook right away to take charge of your destiny. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to that fire conversation.
I hear you. I do. I really feel like the way to amplify our voice is to do it together. I completely agree. And I do think it's harmful to us first, right, as educators, and it's also harmful to our students when we do not support others in missions and organizations and attempts that are going to move us forward. And I would really empower like you and other teachers listening to really find, there's an organization called Teach Plus Policy. They teach you how to advocate for not only policy changes in your school, but policy changes as a whole, like in your state. And they actually pay you. So at the end of this year-long fellowship, you get like, I don't remember what the stipend was, but you get money to be trained to speak in front of TEA, to speak in front of Marath, to speak in front of the board of managers.
Well,
so
I'm sorry, Dr. Ugo, what was the name of that organization again?
Teach Plus.
Teach Plus?
Teach Plus. And there's one in every state almost now. So it sucks. I'm trying to choose my words. It's Sunday. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. You're right, it does, because I'm assuming are doing something that's making change. And then you go into a classroom where we are supposed to be supporting each other as community members, and people are knocking you down when they know it's going to work.
Absolutely.
You were speaking mostly on just like the way we teach, not like, because you said politics, and I was like, you know, people down the sword on their sword, but which sword? Because these days people got their own view about everything in life. So if we all start pushing it, like you see now in different schools, it's like, do you mean like what Crawford talking about, or you just mean like just politics in general? Because no, today, for some reason, people don't know what's right and wrong. Everybody has their own opinion, what's right and what's wrong, what they should read, what they shouldn't read. Because I've seen teachers pushing some mess on some kids, and I'm like, bro, that's an 8-year-old. He don't need to read that.
Right. I feel you.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out, do you mean like, because like what Crawford was talking about, what he does, and like even the meetings, you know what I'm saying, I would say something like, or they do something, and then one time it was funny because then they try to come back and do it Crawford's way, and I was like, bro, Crawford just said that like last time, bro. We should have did that.
That was the meeting where I looked at Crawford like, bro.
Yeah, Crawford in my ways, I was like, here,
It's
man.
all right when they do it. It's a problem when I do it.
Yeah, that's right. So
the answer to that, listen, the answer to that is yes, and yes. I meant all of that. First of all, political is not a bad word, right? We have come to this world because of, previous presidents, that we automatically assume when people talk about politics, it's a dirty word. But the reality is everything we do is political. Every stance that we take is political. I can tell my students, this is what the dress code is, and this is how it's administered in the school. That's teaching them politics. And I haven't taught them about an elephant or a donkey, right? So
Yeah.
we can't have this, we should not have this negative view of politics being a bad thing. The issue that comes with politics is when people become so divisive that they are unwilling to hear other people's story. They are unwilling to hear what could make sense regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. So that's the one thing. And then to address what you're saying, I totally agree with you. I mean, I'll say it outright. I think we are sexualizing our kids too early. I'll say this as a parent. We're introducing things to them under the guise of certain things just too early. But the point of the matter is, I, as a parent, can tell my child and show my child and explain my child. That's my role. It is not, I shouldn't have to put you as your teacher in the position to tell my child what they should or should not be reading. That's my job, right? And if that's present in the school, your job as a teacher is to be you're driving the car. I'm the passenger in the back seat. Imagine like an Uber car. You're driving the car. You're going to get us to our destination. You're going to give us some tips on what's, to do in the city, but you're not making the decision for me. I'll get out when I want to get out. I'll take my child where I feel like my child should go. And right now, what's causing teachers to feel uncomfortable is, as the driver of that Uber car, we now feel like, oh, I can't even give you a suggestion. I can't even give you an idea because you're immediately going to tell me that I'm trying to harm you. In reality, I'm teaching your kid how to think, how to own those ideas that they have. So yes. And then the other thing I heard somebody said, it's right when they do it, but we do it. That does not change. I'm in higher ed, and that's literally the same thing. I'll make a suggestion and nobody will listen, and somebody will say the exact thing 2 minutes later, and they're writing it down as it's the blood of Jesus. Yeah, this is it. We just did it. This does not change. But what it doesn't stop me from doing is realizing my platform is not for my glory. So if that message gets out, and unfortunately somebody of another race or gender was the person who pushed it, I have to choose in that moment. The message is out. I wanted the message to get out. It got out, So it's a lot of things to unpack, but at the end of the day, that's part of what we are as teachers. We are mini politicians. We have more power and leverage than we think we do.
Wonderful. For those of you just joining us, we are here, EduSteps, powered by Ladder Your Success. We're here with our guest, Dr. Ugo Emenaha. Can I call you Ugo? I called you Ugo. I'm sorry.
Of course, yes.
Okay, all right. Dr. Ugo Emenaha. Also, be on the lookout. We have an interview with her that's going to be coming out soon. Now, you mentioned something, Dr. Ugo, that I really wanted to ask you about, because this is the issue that I think me, Crawford, and Hill have really faced and dealt with a lot in our school. Is we're dealing with a demographic of parents who low SES, so a lot of the factors that come in with low SES, low
break
income.
that down for the listeners who don't know what SES is, please.
Okay, go ahead, Crawford. I always forget what that is.
Socioeconomic status.
Socioeconomic status. Okay, there you go. Yes, thank you. So we're dealing with a lot of those parents, and a lot of what I've noticed is a lot of times we'll have an issue with the student. They may be acting in a certain type of way. They may be behaving in a certain type of way, causing lots of trouble. And of course, we have our discipline, our different routes or modes of discipline that we use to implement to help the student correct the behavior, stop the behavior, or at least curtail the behavior. But what we've noticed, especially in the last couple of years, is just constant pushback from parents, where it's no longer the parents looking at the student saying, what are you doing? Stop. It's the parent siding with the child, looking at the teacher saying, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. What are you doing that's causing my child to do this? I can't, if you're a parent and you're constantly getting and you're listening to this and that's your child, I can tell you from the perspective of a teacher, I can't tell you how disheartening and this just disheartening and saddening that is for a teacher to get looked at as the bad person in that situation. So what can we do as teachers? How do we tell parents that, hey, look, we can't do everything. You have to help us with this.
I feel like that question was for me. Was it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it was.
I was like, dang, that's a big question. I hope somebody's ready to answer it. Ooh, okay, so that's the reality of life. That is the reality of education, that parents think we're not on their side and that they have given their children power in situations where they don't necessarily have it. And I think the root of that is when people feel like they cannot trust who they perceive to be in power, they immediately go to all that they know, right? So parents see us, educators, teachers, as the enemy. And so we're bringing them something that they don't want to believe, whether it's true or not, and they're immediately going to shut it down. And this is easier said than done. This is always easier said than done. But the key to that for me is building a relationship with the teacher, building a relationship with the parents, both of us. We've got to both do it. And that is always the hardest part, right? Because I remember when I was teaching 5th grade and I had this kid make up this huge story. He told his mom, like, Miss Menaha never lets me go to the bathroom, and that's why I come home and I have all this mess on me, and she would never let me go to the bathroom. And she was ready. I'll be honest, I was crying because she called me on the phone, yelled at me, told me, oh, you didn't let my baby go to the bathroom, and he smells like this and this every time he comes home. And I'm thinking to myself, this kid goes to if y'all taught in charter schools, we took group bathroom breaks in elementary school. So everybody went at the same time. And then you had 3 times during the day to go on your own. So I knew that this was a lie. And the only way that her brain was shifted, because he stayed in my class for the rest of the year, was when she came to the school and saw how the day was set up. She didn't even set up a time. She just randomly showed up, which was good for her because she saw the reality. She saw that we went to the bathroom 4 times a day. He had the opportunity to go anytime he wanted during lunch, and he had a pass, a 3 strikes pass to go to the bathroom. So there was absolutely no way that even if I said he could not go to the bathroom in the hour and a half that I had him, that he would come home at 4 o'clock smelling some type of way unless he chose to do that to himself. And the only way that the mom was able to see that was her stepping into the classroom and visiting the classroom. And I think that's the link that's missing from whether you're a low SES or not, when you don't put yourself in the place of the classroom, when you don't go in and see what's actually happening, understand what's happening, what's not happening, then you see, okay, this is what my child is doing, or this is the room that I have to give my child advice, even if the teacher is in the wrong. The point is, and this is part of my dissertation, the only way that you can know somebody else is if you know their story, and you can't know their story unless you ask them. So parents, we need you to come ask us what's going on. Come see and check us, because we're not always going to be right, but you won't know that until you come see our story, you know?
I also feel a part of that, besides making a personal connection or building a relationship, because that I'm not against what you said, but that definitely sounds great. But sometimes in most cases, depending on what level a person teaches, there are a lot of parents. So for us teaching at elementary, it might be easier to do that if we have like 50 kids total, right? But if you're a high school teacher or a middle school teacher, you have like a total of 300 kids,
That's true.
that might be a little bit more difficult to do. So what I feel like one of the issue is us as human beings, as people, to seek to understand, we have to be able to seek to understand. Now, let me be clear, I am not a parent, so I'm not gonna act like I am, but in any situation, even when I'm addressing a kid, even if I disagree with their demeanor in that moment, I can still seek to understand why are they reacting the way that they are. That way, if I understand this kid is coming to my classroom because he's dealing with something that probably happened in the car with his or her parent, right? So I can deal with that situation accordingly because I am seeking to understand. I can give that certain individual some time to get themselves together before they enter, the classroom and things of that nature. But I had to choose to understand where they're coming from, or I can be that person. Don't come in my classroom with the attitude, and escalate the situation. So going to when we're talking about with parents and there's a situation dealing with their child, I feel like, and this is no shade at any parent that's out there, we have to be mature enough to be reasonable and be rational and seek to understand and not just take a child's word for it, because their words can be true, but at the same time, they can also not give us the full story. So it's like, I'm going to advocate for my child, but while I'm advocating for my child, let me seek to understand what's really going on. Let me get both sides. And I know the truth is somewhere in the middle so that I can advocate for my child, or I can redirect my child if necessary, but let me seek to understand. And I feel like whether it's low SES or whatever the socioeconomic status of the family may be, that applies for all humans, because I've also taught in an environment where the students are high SES, they're very well off. And if a student has a 92, which is a low A, and that's not good enough for the parent, they're jumping off, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, but this is the expectations and this is what happened. Let me explain, boom, 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 boom. And it's like, oh, well, because you need to seek to understand.
No,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, that's the tagline of this episode, basically. Because and I say this as a parent, two things you said that really resonated. One, you said maturity, right? Like the maturity level that I have to say, if my son comes home and says something, I have to realize that that is only his perspective. 7 other things happened before he came to the understanding that he came to. So that's a maturity level, but it's also a choice to seek to understand. And I think that goes beyond race, gender. It goes beyond being a parent or not. It's just exactly what you said. It's about being a human. I can choose to cuss you out if you cut me off while we're on I-10, or I can choose to say, why is that person going so fast? I can ask questions and dissect the situation deeper than just what's happening on a superficial level. And a lot of that does come from knowing knowing that the person is a teacher and knowing that they are a person, right? Because the student may not be right, the teacher may not be right. I've made mistakes, I'm sure all of us on this call have, and somebody had to call us out and check us on it by knowing the whole story.
Wow, 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 wow. I am super excited on this conversation because it's like, man, we throwing some gems and some haymakers today. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I wanted to throw something on, and I know we started a little bit late, so we're finishing a little bit late today, but I wanted to throw some things on that might be able to tie together like these two halves of this conversation. And I'm going to talk about some very exciting news about what we're doing here at LYS that might be able to move this conversation along further. So I think to the first point about, kind of people standing on hills and dying on swords, I think one thing that is a solution to that is leveraging creativity. Because I personally think, and I can honestly say that this is true to a certain degree, we are most powerful when we are creative, right? Because I think that in terms of leveraging divine energy, creating is like the biggest thing that we can do, right? Whether it's having a child versus starting a business, right? I think that action of taking frustration, anger, problems, and saying, rather than go out and attack, I'm just going to create something, right? And so I think, hats off to Crawford, what he did in the school, but maybe it's time to let me package my idea and let me sell it to those who believe in it, right? And then I'm going to recruit those who are with me on this, right? Because now you're not going to take my idea and bring it back to me in a meeting and y'all get a check off of it or whatever. So I think that's one aspect, right? I think the next aspect regarding tying to the community and and families, and to, I think Olay was kind of getting on this point, is we do need to kind of bring back that community feel where, you know, I know some educators are like, I don't want to see none of the kids outside of school, you know what I'm saying? Versus like, I'm gonna probably try to make sure I create opportunities where I could kind of be that role model outside of school, so they know I'm a real person and the parents know I'm a real person. And I know that's a very tough tightrope, because, you know, you got some parents who will call you at any time of the night because their kid is like the most important child in the world. And it's like, dude, I need to get some sleep. So I think there's like this communication that needs to happen of like, yo, if y'all want to catch me, here's my hours where you could call or text. And if y'all want to catch me, maybe I'm setting aside 1 week a month to be in the community garden. I'm gonna be at the community garden this weekend. Y'all could catch me over there. Or I'm gonna be at the local high school basketball game. Y'all can catch me over there. You know, something to that degree. Or y'all can catch me at church or whatnot. And so I think that is another solution. And now I'm gonna tell you guys the exciting news about what LYS is doing. We are going to start a parents campaign for helping parents to deal with the tough things that are happening now with students, because I think from all that was said, we kind of need a school for parents to just learn how to help their kids, right? Because I think that's the confusing part, right? There's not a manual for good parenting, right? Even though LYS might make one. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that, because we're not going to tell you how to be a parent, but we could create resources, and that's what we're going to do on our mini podcast that we're kicking off. We're launching a new mini podcast called Steps for Success. That'll be 5 to 7 minutes, where we just talk about how you can be successful within like 5 to 7 minutes. And so we're going to focus our energy on being creative, creating just a way for parents to be able to come get tips, ideas on how you can help your child to cross that chasm, leveraging this technology that's available. So I wanted to throw that out there. I thank everybody for your input and for your ideas. Jamark was on the roll today. He took my soapbox. Give me that soapbox. You know what I'm saying? But I love it. I love that energy. You know what I'm saying? And again, thank you so much, Dr. Ugachi, just coming here and bringing your knowledge and your resources. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Catch that. You know what I'm saying? But you can't catch that next resource. So yeah, I love it. I love it. It's dope. Olay?
Yeah. So I think that's a great spot for us to end. Really, really good conversation. I mean, you know, it usually starts off like we have a really good conversation, and then we say, man, that's really good. We may have to do that same thing next week. Yeah. So you know what? We walk to the beat of our own drum, but at the same time, it's kind of calculated. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what we have in store for next week. But as always, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Ugochi. Thank you so much for coming on with us. I know I was like texting you frequently, like, come on and join, and you did. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. Soon to be Dr. Jamark Crawford, as always, thank you so much, sir, for joining us, for being with us. We love having you. Thank you so much, brother. And the ambassador, the one and only, King Emeritus, Himothy. He is Himothy.
That guy.
Daniel Hill, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being with us. Festus, go ahead and hit him with the closing.
So as we always love to say, there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There's no legitimate excuse for not getting an education. We're going to catch you on the next episode.
All right. Oh, you're still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS podcast.